firstly, can I say that the Labour Party is very, very supportive of the Chinese community in New Zealand, and we're very, very supportive of continuing to have a relatively open immigration policy where we welcome new migrants from around the world. The Chinese community has been an extremely hard-working and successful part of New Zealand society, and we look to build on that success as we seek to further develop our economy and our community. So in terms of our immigration policy, we do stand for open immigration. It was the Labour Party that first brought international students from China to New Zealand. It was the Labour Party that signed the China FTA, and it's the Labour Party that was first to establish diplomatic relations with China. So we have a long history of friendship. So where to from here? Our immigration policy is designed to match the international skills that are available with the needs of a growing economy, while at the same time providing for family reunion and humanitarian objectives and meeting some treaty commitments. So China's been one of our largest providers of new migrants for a number of years and remains very, very important to us. So we aim to see that continue to grow. Chinese migrants have an advantage. If they're only children, then it's easier to bring their parents in. That won't change because parents' children are the Tier 1 family reunification. Yep. And if you're an only child and you come to New Zealand, it's going to be easier for you to have your parents qualify than if you were one of, say, 5 siblings and only one of them's in New Zealand. By definition, your centre of gravity is in New Zealand. We want to make sure when people come here that they have the support to integrate well into society. So we are expanding our English language tuition, English as a second language training for new migrants, and we're also refunding night classes and adult education, which anybody, including migrant families, can benefit from at no cost. We welcome foreign investment. We welcome it where it can add value to our economy. So if a foreign investor wants to build a factory or transfer technology or help develop natural resources, we welcome that. We are going to limit, though, the ability of foreign nationals who aren't planning to live here purchasing real estate or farmland. And that's not specific to China, that is for anyone from any country, because we want the price of our homes and the price of our farms to be relative to the ability of our local people to pay. But again, let me say, if someone wants to build new ones or move to New Zealand, then there's no restriction on buying land. If you want to be an owner-occupier, it's fine. If you just want to trade it and you don't want to build on it, that's not fine. But if you're a resident, you can do what you like. It's a matter of demand and supply.
Exactly.
So we've talked a little bit about demand. What's important is to expand supply. And Labour has a program called Kiwi Build, which will build an average of 10,000 homes a year over 10 years. So that's 100,000 homes, which will be made available for first home buyers.
All for first
home buyers. Yeah, the Kiwi Build program is for first home buyers.
Can you still remember your first home?
Yes, I can.
Where is it?
It was in Kandala in Wellington.
Kandala? Now it's very expensive now.
Not the particular street that I bought in. It was $95,000 for my first.
$95,000?
In 1987, I think.
How about the mortgage rate?
Oh, we had 3 mortgages. We were very poor, and we only just had enough for the deposit. And our third mortgage was at 22%. 22%. It was terrible.
One of the highest periods.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah, and my wife went out. We had part-time job cleaning as well as being a student, and I was working as a junior civil servant, and it was very tough.
Do you believe it was harder for you to buy a first new house, your first home, comparing to young people now?
No, it's harder now.
It's harder now? It's
harder now because people come out of tertiary education with student loans, and all that student loan debt is like a mortgage without a house. So it's harder for people to pay off their student loan debt and then save for their mortgage. And of course, under the current government, the Reserve Bank has brought in this 20% minimum deposit ratio,
Yes.
which makes it even harder. And we don't think that that should be applied all around the country. We're going to have a clear housing policy which will say to the Reserve Bank, we do not expect you to put a minimum deposit ratio on a market which is not overheated. In Auckland it is, and in Christchurch it is, but in Whanganui and New Plymouth and Palmerston North and in Bulls and Martin and Taihape, it's not. So it should not apply equally all around the country. It should only apply to the regions that are running really hot. I think we all know where Auckland ends and the Waikato stops, and it's possible for the Reserve Bank to apply those policies regionally.
Do you please compare the Kiwi bill policy to the national policy?
See, National hasn't really got, with respect, much of a housing policy at all. They've really only said two things. Firstly, that they would try to lower the cost of building materials by reducing the tariff, but we know that that will only have about a 1 to 1.5% impact on the build cost of a home. And that's less than the Auckland average house price increases in 2 weeks, right?
Sure.
So all that buys is a 2-week grace period. The other thing that National has said is that they would subsidise the deposits of first home buyers. But that is like trying to put out a fire by pouring petrol on it. Because that just causes more inflation in the housing market if the demand goes up, and it's capitalised into home values. So when they tried it in Australia, it didn't work. And that's why the New Zealand Treasury told the National Party, it's a dumb idea, don't do it. But they did it anyway because they thought it sounded good. The other thing is, of course, that the Prime Minister's got his numbers wrong. He said that they would give a deposit subsidy of up to $20,000 per couple. But they have $220 million to spend. They have 90,000 couples, and that averages out at $2,400 per couple on average, not 20,000. So people should look very carefully at the numbers. There'll be a lot of disappointed people. In Auckland, for example, there would be a combination of standalone homes that would be further out in some of the outlying suburbs and some infill. And there would be a lot of condominium-style and apartment-style building, like terraced houses, closer in. We need to improve the density of our cities so that we can afford public transport and other good things. We will act to use the power of government to develop different housing areas. We won't have exactly the same policy as the current government, but we do see government working in partnership with local and regional government as being able to help proactively develop different areas, and that will work with the Kiwi Build program. Kiwi Build will be a mixture. Some will be low density further out, but the closer you get to the centre of the city, the higher the density will become. We're very passionate about improving public transport. In my own suburb of New Lynn, of course, we've had a major redevelopment project. We put the rail line underground, built a new train station, which you probably used, and every week, and now we have trains running every 10 minutes. So Labour and government will accelerate the deployment of the city rail loop from Britomart Station all the way around to Mount Eden and back, and that will help the trains speed up all around Auckland. That's our top priority to get that started. So we'll put $1 billion into that. Well, the Waterview connection is already contracted, and that will be completed as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. But the CRL will cost about 2.8 billion.
I think the cost estimates vary from about 2.1 to about 2.8, and we will probably put in about half, but $1 billion minimum. That'll be from within the Land Transport Fund. Toll roads? We have mixed views about that because we don't want it to be regressive. That is, we want people with lower incomes not to be penalised. So our way of thinking is, yes, sometimes it can be appropriate for a good project, but there always has to be a non-toll alternative. So if people can't afford the tolls, they can go a different way. So we would not block the development of new toll roads.
Stephen Jones used to calculate the Labour spending plan will be up to almost 17.9 billion in over 4 years.
Well, he wasn't in my class at Harvard, and I don't think his mathematics is very good. National is committed about 15.3, Labour's committed about 15.6, so round about the same. Here are our fiscal commitments, because I know for the Chinese community and for most New Zealanders, the ability to rely upon the fact that we are very good with the budget is very important. We're going to run surpluses, fiscal surpluses, every year, unless there's a major meltdown. How to achieve that? Being very careful with what we spend. We can, if you go to our website, you will see our budget is all online. It's all banked and paid for. We run surpluses every year, and we pay down nationals record debt faster than they do. In fact, by the end of our second term, it should be paid right back down to 3%. So that's a great achievement. And David Parker, our finance spokesperson, he's excellent.
I know. Yep. Much more funny, maybe.
And funnier than me. If anybody has made a profit in the past, it's not counted. So let's say the capital gains tax starts in 2016. Yeah. Only future gains after that date will be counted. Never on your family home.
No family home.
Not on the family home.
Family trust?
And not on a family trust if the family trust just owns your home. It doesn't matter if the home's in a trust or not. Okay? And the other thing is it is not an inheritance tax. So you can still leave your home to your children, no CGT. No CGT. So if in future you have an investment property, not the one you're living in, but you have a set, say, second or third house, then the future gain would be taxed only when you sell it, only when you have cash in your hand. Then you keep 85 cents, government gets 15, which is quite a small tax.
Will you set up an authority or something to monitor?
The Inland Revenue Department will do that. There'll be an expert advisory group that assists with the tax design. It'll work with the tax community, the professional accountants and lawyers, to make sure the design's perfect, and then the IRD will implement it and police it.
The current government argues that the existing tax system has the ability to trace such tax or something.
No, there's two problems. The first is that you have to prove the intent, state of mind to be a trader, and that's very difficult in law, because if you just happen to buy 2 extra houses and sell them for a profit, nobody can prove that you intended to be a trader.
That's my concern. How do you judge the intention?
You can't. That's why it's very hard to force people to pay tax. That's why we need a capital gains tax. We don't have one at the moment, and we are one of only 3 countries in the developed world, the OECD countries. Only Greece, New Zealand and Switzerland don't have a capital gains tax. Everybody else does. I think China is a tremendous economic partner for New Zealand, and the Labour government is very proud, the Labour Party is very proud that we signed the China FTA, and we were the first to back China as an international member of the World Trade Organization. And we very much in future want to work to partner with China to see it fully engaged in the international community of nations and the world economy. So that's all very positive. We continue to see it as a very growing market for New Zealand. We also want to make sure that we grow other markets as well. Diversification, and our economic strategy is also about adding value, adding intellectual property and research and development, so that we are able to develop fine, advanced products from our natural resources, and that way we can sustain the good jobs that pay good wages in New Zealand. So that's why ICT, for example, is very important to New Zealand.
How about TPP?
And TPP?
Yep.
Well, we won't know till we see it. And at the moment, the government isn't telling people what's in it. Exactly. So we're reserving our position, and we will have a full open debate when we get in government. We'll open the books. We can and will win this race. It will take, on 2 of the latest polls, TV1 and TV3 poll, about a 2 to 3% shift. And there is plenty of precedent for doing that in the last week. In fact, in the last campaign, I know that our vote firmed more than that in the last week. So we can win this race. Not on our own, but working with the Green Party and New Zealand First, we can form a coalition government. And if we do...
How about the money?
They won't be in the government. No, we're not going to work with them in the government. No. They haven't been around long enough to be reliable.